Let's get to our Heisman predictions. I'll be honest, it's a really easy race this year. I think it's very simple. I think if Bama wins out, Ty Simpson wins the Heisman Trophy. Period. End of story. And I know what you're going to say. Wait a minute. Fernando Mendoza is going to be undefeated. Yes, I know. Dylan Gabriel was undefeated last year, and they still didn't give it to him. Now, I know it was a historic year with Genty and Travis Hunter, where you had two unicorn-type players. But if you're not giving it to a 12-0 Oregon quarterback, I don't think you're giving it to a 12-0 Indiana quarterback. I just don't. Ty Simpson has the best resume in college football. They play in the toughest conference in college football. Their schedule down the stretch is a cinch, guys. Like, they're tough. They're through the tough part. LSU at home, Oklahoma at home, Eastern Illinois at Auburn. Alabama's probably going to go 11-1, guys. And if they go 11-1, Ty Simpson wins the award. Now, if they drop one of these games, let's say they drop the game to Oklahoma, Ty Simpson struggles, the Oklahoma defense wins. That's when Mendoza probably becomes the guy. That's when Marcel Reed has a chance, right? If A&M goes undefeated, that's when Marcel Reed has a chance. I don't see Julian Sain winning the award. I just don't. I just think there's too many. First of all, Ohio State's schedule is just so simple. And there's no signature wins. There's no moments for Marcel or for Julian Sain. What's Julian Sain's Heisman moment? Handing it off and throwing a deep ball to, the best receiving group in the nation against, subpar secondary players. Like, again, Ohio State's schedule is an absolute cinch, guys. They won their toughest game of the year against Texas by scoring 14 points. At Wisconsin, at Illinois, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and in the game at Michigan. I just don't see an Ohio State player winning this award. That's how I feel about Vandy, too. I love Diego Pavia. He's just not a Heisman. He's not going to win the Heisman. He doesn't deserve to be in the top 5. I would put Stockton ahead of him. I really would. I just think he does more. Well, actually, to be fair, no, I wouldn't put Stockton ahead of Pavia. Pavia deserves some love. You know who I'd put in front of Pavia? Haynes King. That's who I'd put in front of Diego Pavia to win the Heisman. What Haynes King's done this year is remarkable. He looks like one of the best players in college football. I think the top 3 or the top 2 is where you're going to find this winner. I think it's a very easy race. Frankly, I think the Heisman Trophy is one of the easier races to handicap this year. I really do. If Bama wins out, you give it to Simpson. If Bama doesn't win out, you give it to Mendoza. I think unless here's the fly in the ointment. All right, are you ready for your Heisman sleeper? Hit the record button on this one, guys. Your Heisman sleeper this year is Jeremiah Love. It is. There isn't a legit quarterback, right? There isn't that runaway freight train at quarterback. I think you give it to Simpson based off of respect and value in the SEC. You give it to Mendoza because they go undefeated. But neither of those guys is running away with the award. That's why we're more than halfway through the year, and there is not a legit favorite. Both Simpson and Mendoza are splitting the favorite tag right now, with Sain and Reed still kind of hovering, right? You have 4 players plus 550 or shorter to win the Heisman. Jeremiah Love, I think, is the best player in college football. He is last year's Ashton Genty. They finally unleashed him against USC the other day. You can make a case that Notre Dame's schedule down the stretch is Cupcake City. And if they give Jeremiah Love the keys to the castle and say, go crazy, big fella. Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. I mean, he could easily rip off 200 yards apiece on all 5 of those teams. And all of a sudden, he could be at 1,600, 1,700, 1,800 rushing yards on the year. And then I think you would have a case for Jeremiah Love. Maybe that's the sprinkle you make this week. Like, I had a free bet on BetMGM. $10 free bet. Who cares? I'm going to put it on Jeremiah Love this week at 18-1. I think that's the long shot. That's the sleeper Heisman who could just explode down the stretch and maybe run his way into the conversation.